Thank you for chiming into Cromwell's Ghost. I'm your host, The Ghost. It's been a while, my apologies for that, but I've been tied up, I've been busy, just getting away. I found a moment or two now, so I'm going to try and catch you up. And basically this first video again comes from Scarborough, North Yorkshire, and basically
Cromwell's Ghost. Why did you film this?
why did I film it? It's in a public space. Filming's not a crime. Accuracy as well. I know that the council has cameras, but you never can tell whether they're turning or pointing in the right direction at the right time. Accuracy purposes, sometimes people embellish or sometimes people exaggerate on statements, and it's just easier to film it. Just allow the video to speak for itself.
Okay, but what can we learn from this?
Learn that violence can happen at any time. Kind of a coiled spring that it could just set off at any time, at any moment. It doesn't really matter if you're going out for petrol or going out to go for shopping. Events can just unravel without you realising. I'd say that was about it, really.
Okay, so in your mindset, what does it demonstrate?
It demonstrates to me that we have a very small contingent of people who probably really don't care about other people's well-being. I'd also say that in some regards the state isn't able to afford you that protection 24/7, and that people have to take the chances and run the risk. And as much as we have safety and security, it's kind of given the idea that it'll always be there to catch you. It's not 100%. And the other thing is that you should always be wary, even if the people are teenagers. 9% of murders per year in the UK on average are committed by people under the age of 16. So you've really got to be cautious when you're looking at maybe 2 or 3 individuals. They may only be 15, 16. They may only be of a light frame or build, but working together like a pack of hyenas, you know, they can bring down bigger people. So you should always be a little bit cautious. And it also demonstrates, I think, this misconception with a lot of self-defense classes as well, that a lot of these places are they're well intentioned, but on the street it's not choreographed and there's no safety net, and it's different from learning in the classroom, seeing it up front and doing it up close. There is a difference.
So do you think your videos, or this specific video, is helpful to anybody?
I'm not sure. I think public interest wise, I think people have a fascination with violence. This is why people like...
Do you have a fascination with violence?
I think about it. I think about how we quantify it, how we measure it. And if you look at directors in particular of movies, Quentin Tarantino, you look at Pulp Fiction, you look at Django Unchained, And then if you look at other films recently, Russell Crowe, Gladiator, I think society's always had this kind of this interest, this love when it comes to violence.
Well, it's indoctrinated now in history, isn't it? It's throughout the ages. We've never been able to escape violence.
No, but we've also then sent mixed messages to the last couple of generations, like turn the other cheek, be reasonable, walk away, all the rest of it, tell the teacher, gain state aid and get someone else to help you out. But
so do you think that films are now contributing to violence? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think so. I think people are going to do whatever they're going to do, regardless of what they see on the television. The individual has to take responsibility. I don't think it's right to blame film directors or the movie industry or even computer games. I remember on the Mega Drive, I think it was Mortal Kombat, when they first put a little bit of blood and gore on the screen, everyone started throwing a hissy fit. But there's very little evidence to suggest that video games has somehow manifested itself into a spike of violence. I think people who commit random acts of violence I think they're just, well, there's a few things motivating it. It's money, greed, the idea of respect, even though it's hard to quantify or measure what that means.
So when people look at this video, what do you want them to actually get from it? What do you want them to, in their mindset, what is it you're trying to sort of project here with this video?
Be aware of your surroundings, be aware of other people, and try to leave people alone as much as possible. And
so if somebody's in crisis, you don't believe that you should help them?
Well, the situation here was they actually shouted blade, so putting yourself at risk at that point is probably not the best solution. There were other witnesses around at the time. The video didn't show that because the video cut off. But other people, once those individuals had finished their attack, other people went over to check on the individual on the ground and then called for ambulance and police service. Once it was safe to do so. But it's interesting you ask the question, because legally you've no obligation to help a fellow human being out.
No, we know.
Once you lend aid to someone, then you have to basically stick around until someone of a better calibre, so like a paramedic or someone in the services turns up to relinquish you of that responsibility. And that sounds pretty harsh, but at the end of the day, it is what it is in the legal framework. So, yeah, that's about it, really.
Okay, so you talk about people being more aware of their surroundings and stuff like that, and yet you're saying that there's no obligation to help anybody. So again, I'm asking the question, you're showing this video of violence, but I'm still not quite fully understanding as to why you are showing it as such. Are you saying that we should just stand by and watch it, or we shouldn't help at all? What really is your motivation to put this video out there?
To make people aware that not everyone's as kind-hearted and as reasonable as they are, and there are assholes out on the street. And the fact of the matter is that you should always, there's a Japanese proverb, always respect a stranger.
I agree. So basically what you want is general people to have more common decency. So is that what you're saying? You want people to have more common decency?
No, I'm not necessarily.
Because common decency wouldn't be recording the fight in the first place.
Common decency wouldn't be causing the fight in the first place.
Of course, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the morality in a way, to a degree. Fights happen, wars happen, people die all the time, but should you really be recording it and then posting it?
We film those wars all the time. We film 9/11. People throwing themselves out the tower. We filmed Greenfell. We filmed
People
war.
film, but it's about whether or not you decide to post that to a degree.
we filmed wars ever since 1914. In fact,
The First World War, yeah.
the first photographs taken an active combat scene, I think, would have been the American Civil War. Geronimo had his picture taken just before he surrendered his arms. They took photographers wherever they went just to take pictures of the natives before they were incarcerated for the remainders of the days. And moving pictures have been done ever since. Vietnam was a prime example.
You weren't there during this fight, were you?
No.
Okay, so if you were, what would you have done? Would you have filmed it? Would you have stood back? What your moral decency compass? Where was your moral compass there? What would you do?
Exactly what the filmmaker did. Actually stand back, call the authorities, record it for accuracy purposes, because once someone shouts blade, then you're taking a risk unnecessarily for something that you're not entirely sure what's transpiring.
That's interesting.
Why put yourself at risk
I agree.
unnecessarily?
Mhm.
And sometimes the best form of self-defense is actually not to get caught up in the first place.
Yeah, and in a way you kind of touched upon something that I sort of agree with, because evidence is quite key in witnesses, and that's where it's come now, isn't it? Recording everything. Because unfortunately there are a lot of people who believe in, you know, telling stories, not telling the truth, and, you know, having a warped sense of what's happened, when actually these days recording things does provide some evidence for people.
People's memories fail them as well. They
Your
don't
brain
quite
can
remember.
never pull out every single bit of information in your
No,
life.
and
It's never 100% accurate.
the thing about it is, councils use CCTV all the time to monitor behaviour and then try to detect crime and try to prevent it in certain areas, and it's been one of their tools for quite some time. But the police record whatever they fancy. They're starting to now being issued body cams as norm. And you've
Well,
also
do you
got,
not think that's because we live in a more litigious society?
it's also got to the point where people are I think, are starving for the truth. They want accuracy. They just want it right. They don't necessarily. I think what annoys people is they just don't feel like they're getting the full version, and they just want it right. They just want it accurate.
You're saying we all want a transparent world now. We want that bit more.
I don't think it's too difficult and too much to ask for. I mean, we can't turn the clock back with recording. So the question becomes: is how do we utilise it in the future? Where's it going to take us? And I do have concerns.
I agree with that.
I have concerns that we could end up in a China-esque situation where you cross a traffic light and it's orange and not red, and you've crossed the white line slightly and it's taken £50 out your bank account, or you buy a cheesecake and the government decides to sanction you for it, so you can't ride a bus that week. You know, it does concern me. I think that's, yeah.
We've answered enough questions.
So,
Happy with that?
so viewers, I know it's only a short clip, but leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe and take care of yourselves and each other.